college administrators and athletic trainers was how do you balance your life? How do you juggle? How do you factor life balance in? Like, yo, dude, I was with the baseball team when they had that lecture when I was in school, so I missed that part of growing up. So I've done a lousy job of balancing life from that standpoint, by definition. It's about kind of risks and rewards, shall we say. The risks at my level, or not the task, let's put that instead of risks, the task, the responsibilities, and the rewards. 82 games schedule, and so on and so forth. Someone asked Gary Beatty about how many games, how many days a year, how many nights a year are you not at home for dinner, or because you're on the road? How many nights a year are you on the road? That's what it was. It's like 100. But that counts 41 home games, preseason, playoffs, conventions, all that, right? But he said, it's not that. That's not the number. The number is how many nights a year do I not have dinner at home? And out of the 365, it's like 221. Because, again, we've got 82 games, plus the 8 preseason games, plus whatever they got in the playoffs, plus. By the time you add it all up, it's a huge number. Along the way, I missed my father-in-law's funeral. I missed bringing my son home from the hospital when he was born. I haven't missed a game in 23 years plus. So that's a streak of, 1,800 something. But on the other hand, what I can bring home allowed my wife, who's a respiratory therapist, to take a job giving up half her salary to enhance her quality of life. Go from being a respiratory therapist, waking up at 7, go to work at 7 in the morning, working in a hospital, weekends, holidays, and things like that. So to a point where she now works in a high school as like the assistant administrator to admissions or something like that. All right? And it's not necessarily a no-brainer job, but it doesn't have the responsibilities and the pressures of the hospital. And as a school schedule. No weekends, no holidays, no Christmas. Not much of a summer. All right? And it's all worked out okay for her. And allowed her to do some things while the kids were growing up that maybe she didn't have an opportunity to do otherwise. So it's all worked out well. Again, responsibilities and rewards. There's a lot of people who work high school jobs, you guys who are outreach in high schools. Okay, so the rewards may not be, they may be different monetarily from that perspective, but you get your weekends to yourself. After football season, you might have some things, not others. There are benefits at all levels, and there are drawbacks to all levels. So, Carroll is going from here, University of San Diego, versus Russ Romano at USC. All right? Maybe they're probably more similar than we might realize. But, like I said, I'm not very good at the balance of life tonight. Me and my wife still wondering now, what the hell? You got practices done. You're still there? Yeah, catching up. So, it's all worked out okay. Next question. Yes, ma'am.
What's the most rewarding part of your career to you, would you say?
That's a great question. I've been doing these little, I'll speak for pizza nights for a while. No one's really ever asked that. We didn't talk about that last year, American River, did we? The most rewarding part? I don't remember that. I guess what said in the video, the people. Win. It's great to win. Everybody wants to win at everything. One of the things that was really gratifying for me is my dad passed away in 2001 in June, and his health had started to decline before that. But he was happy to see in the opening ceremonies in Sydney, he could see me walking the opening parade. And I was kidding one of our doctors, and he was a little more wide-eyed about all this. said, yeah, I'm with the basketball team. You know, I know these guys in different scenarios. I said, you want to be on TV? She said, yeah. I said, good. There's Vince Carter. Let's just stay about 3 steps behind him. I guarantee you that he will be on. Lo and behold, I got back home off the trip, and the 2 people at the donut store that didn't even know I existed. So we saw you on TV right behind Vince Carter. Yeah. So that was a wonderful moment. It's always fun when I play in Detroit. I go back home and play the Pistons back there. Again, getting a 4-year extension on PlayStation or whatever that thing is. That's a nice thing. And that's from that standpoint. To have the respect of people like Carolyn and people of our colleagues, and the Hall of Fame and all that, that's tremendous. Just to be spoken in the same breath as my hero growing up in this profession. That's incredible. And to be positioned as a standard bearer, I guess, as a professional team athletic trainer, and have people say, well, we can't understand why other people can't do what you do. It drives me nuts sometimes, but that's a tremendous compliment. So those are all highlights. To say any one specific particular one, I don't know. Just like anyone else, see my 2 kids more, and have them all grow up and be healthy, and all that stuff. But aside from that, this part of my life, it's maybe the day not known. Again, highlights, not necessarily the highlight. I was talking to Michael Jordan after one of his final comebacks, and he said, "Thank you for everything." What do you mean, Mr. Abdenour? He said, "Mr. Abdenour, because he got me and my brother confused. He didn't know my name. Like David Stern doesn't know my name. He knows I'm Mike's brother." I was wearing a pair of Nikes at the time. Thank you for my Nikes. Thank you for elevating our game. Thank you for the television contracts that have flowed down to the rest of us. Oh yeah, no problem. Glad to do it. So, just that exposure. Being with the Olympic team in 2000, some great guys, absolutely great people. So, there's great people in the NBA on the administrative side too. Just to have them in my circle of friends or my Facebook buddies, that's good. Anyone else? Yes.
If you were to retire tomorrow and you were told to pick your successor, what characteristics would you look for in that person?
Another good question. Well, we'll just do it right now. Who wants my job? All right. To pick my successor, tremendously flattering. You'd have to look at someone who's had exposure and experience within the professional ranks, 5 years beyond master's degree. Someone that's going to try. I'd hope that they would maintain the work ethic that I've had and will continue to grow professionally. Keep going with the if you want to say legacy that I've brought to the dance, and that be available at all times within reason, and just try to keep growing that, and we'll see how all that shakes out. I was just in La Jolla today, so if you ask me where I'd like to end up, we can certainly have that conversation too. And we practice Bishop School. Do you guys know where that is? Yeah. That was interesting.